Well, hello and welcome to Brains Brawn Podcast. I'm Chuck Turay.
And I'm Wendy Sloan.
And Brains Brawn is a weekly podcast designed to give you both sides of the story to help you better understand your world. Today we are brought to you by Astute Productions, where ideas take form, and Patriot Focus, turning everyday people into entrepreneurs and helping small businesses grow. So, good morning, Wendy.
Hey, good morning, Chuck.
How are you doing?
Good.
We were just having a pretty lengthy discussion on
Focusing
and being overwhelmed with starting businesses and where to focus our attention.
Yep. So that's what we decided that our podcast today is going to be about, is how to start your business and then what's likely to happen in the first few months. So starting your business, I mean, first you have to have a good business idea.
Yeah. That's what we're kind of talking about, is
because we have so many ideas, right, Chuck?
We tend to get a little overwhelmed, and I know I have had this in the past, and I had to kind of scale it, and I think really what we were talking about is it's important to know where you want to go as far as you want to do, X, Y, and Z, but really finding like X, which is what you're currently the best at, or
your core,
or at least something that you can feasibly do within your monetary means to do right now. And then really just kind of focusing and then building off that to get to, Y and Z down the road.
Mm-hmm. And I'm a creative type, both server and a creative type. And so I have so many different ideas. And the beginning of our relationship, I was just putting it all out there of everything that I wanted to do and creating the website Astute Productions. And then I'm like lagging behind on my copy, which he can't really do for me.
There's like 20 pages, but we need to kind of scale it down to like 3 or 4
That's
first,
right.
And then we kind of build into it. So I guess that's kind of my suggestion. And
it's probably taken me like 6 months to get there.
Yeah.
To realizing that I can't do it all right away.
Yeah, unless you have money, or you have some sort of investment money where you can get people to do what you need to have done. A lot of people and that's kind of the people that we're used to talking with and helping out, as people that are kind of just doing it themselves, either as a side job while they work full time, or maybe they've found a niche and they're trying to, they're struggling to make it work and be their full-time gig. But I think that's where a lot of people is at. They know what they want to do, and it's all about finding that one thing that you're really good at right now, and then getting your contribution out into that space. So whether that's through a blog or a video blog, a website, or offering, writing books or small little, PDF files, ebooks. Mm-hmm. It's all really important, because once you have your voice within your niche and you have the attention of some people in your community, then you can start working on other things. So that's what I was telling Wendy is, Wendy's a licensed masseuse and massage therapist. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And
he's the right lingo, okay?
And a hypnotist.
I'm a certified hypnotist, and I'm also a teacher for the National Guild of Hypnotism. So I also do classes in certifying people. Right.
So that was kind of what we're using as a basis of being a perfect example of something that you have a certification for. You obviously have knowledge.
And I enjoy working with clients one-on-one.
Right.
So it's not something that I'm burnt out on or hate. It's something I do enjoy doing, but my services, and I've seen my marketplaces change, especially in the massage world, with Groupons and different other competitions of chains like Massage Envy. What used to be a good living, making almost $1,000 a week, at one point. But your body can only do a certain amount, and if your retail sales is lower than that, Groupons are only paying the spa like $20.
Really?
And people don't realize that because they're getting a deal. Like usually a massage is $80, and so if Groupon's wanting you to advertise as a business for $40, they keep $20. They give the spa $20, and the spa owner, what are they going to do? Are they going to give $10, 50-50 split with the massage therapist, or are they just going to give them $15?
Massage for $5?
No. Well, that's why. With a Groupon, it's $15, and then a $15 tip. Or a $20 tip. So, and then you're hoping that you're advertising. It's a way of saving money for the business, save money on advertising because they're not putting that $200 or $300 ad out there in a
I see. And you're hoping for the return.
Return, right.
Yeah,
so giving super service. That's why customer service is so important.
Right. And that's good too, because you can, I mean, especially those clients, I think it's important too, is as you get the clients in, is especially people are going to have other pain points, not just needing a massage. So like that good customer service and getting to know your clients, you start to realize other things that you could
work with them. I mean, especially somebody like me with hypnosis and as a business coach and entrepreneur, working with entrepreneurs. It's very interesting. A lot of people that come in that have physical pain, they also have like pain at work.
Yeah,
and stresses and whatnot.
So it'd be a good thing is, writing a blog like ways to relieve stress, work stress, massage being one, and then some other things that you've learned through your training with hypnosis and stuff, or meditating.
And a lot of it with people unhappy at work, a lot of times it's the relationships that they have with other people at work. Right. Seems to be the biggest concern.
So maybe how to deal with difficult people.
Yes, how to deal with difficult people. Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
So we started this conversation talking about that when you are going to start a new business, unless you have money, a whole bunch of money saved, there comes to a point where you're spending a lot of money until you have money coming in. You want to make sure that you have enough in reserves. Mm-hmm. Or another way that people start their business is that they go part-time in the job that they have as they're building up a business. But what's the worst thing is when you start become fearful about money, like how am I going to pay my immediate bills?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then that blocks your creativity, and then you don't have the mojo to go and continue to go forward in your new adventure, or you have to scale back.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've had that happen to me, and that's what I think we always kind of feel like more is better. Mm-hmm. So if I offer all these millions of different things, then I can get clients from everywhere, but sometimes it takes away from, what you're really good at. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important for people out there starting a business to remember to kind of take it slow and maybe build on one or two things at a time, and again, build up your voice, get some credibility within the community. Use like forums, Facebook, write a blog, do a video blog if you don't like writing.
And I think the most important thing that we haven't talked about is start collecting email addresses from people and figure out who your tribe is, who your avatar is, who's your ideal client is, and really cater your message and your business to that type of person.
Use MailChimp or Infusionsoft or whatever, but you're not going to get email addresses unless you're offering something.
Yeah, that people feel like there's a value.
Like. Yeah, exactly. They want value for their time or their information. So that's why these kinds of things, video blogs and blogs, or even just Facebook posts. That can be pretty simple too. You just do a helpful Facebook post of the day, and then at the bottom of each one you have your website. Eventually people start seeing them and they're either funny or enlightening or helpful in any way, then they'll want to come subscribe so that they can see what else you have out there. So if you have like a book, maybe they'll be like, oh, I really like their posts on Facebook or their blogs or whatever, maybe I'll check out their book. That I'll probably like that as well. Yeah. So I think those are some pretty good ways to get started, at least building your tribe, as you say, and getting into the community that you're kind of interested in being in.
So in this journey with us the past 4 months, what do you still feel passionate about? Or even in your business, what is that you're...
Well, right now I feel passionate about how much I hate lawyers.
You want to talk about that more?
Not really. Well, I'm dealing with a patent troll, so hopefully no one ever has to deal with patent trolls, although they're pretty common. So they've trademarked our name and they gave us a cease and desist, and we can't advertise or market under our name until we get them to drop the cease and desist, or we change the name if they refuse to.
That's really a bummer that people are out there. And so our audience, be aware of this, that there are people out there that are looking to steal your business in a way.
They look for your business, and then they trademark something about your business, or the name, or whatever it is, the logo. And then they say that they own it when they will lose in court. I have a paper trail going back over a year that, you know, I've been using this name, and it doesn't matter if you own it or if you have a paper trail, because in order to prove it, you have to go to court. So it's going to cost me $250,000 to take them to court to win, which obviously I don't have $250,000 just to go to court and get them off my back. So they're going to ask me for, you know, $3,000 or $5,000, and then they'll drop it, which I'm not going to do. So I'll have to change the name, which is fine, but it's just frustrating. But, you know, that it does put a little bit of a damper on, like you said,
and we're not trying
creativity.
to put fear in your minds that this is
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
happen
No,
to you,
not
but
at all.
we're just trying to let you know that this is out there.
It's common. Just Google patent trolls. They're trying to pass some legislation against it, which I hope they do. They've actually made some positive strides since like 2012. They've passed a lot of good legislation, but it's just not perfect. And you shouldn't let it stop you. You know, like you said, like it sucks, and it'll get frustrated, and you kind of lose a little bit of that drive because you're like, oh, I just
disappointment in humanity.
Yeah, I spent all this time doing this, and then now this is happening to me. But you know, whatever. I'll change the name if I have to, and we'll move forward. But it put everything on hold. So now I went from beta testing, you know, to really being on the cusp of being able to start doing our beta test and getting everything ready to, you know, take public, to now I'm just sitting around waiting, you know. So.
And I was hoping, because I've invested in his company just a small little bit, I was even thinking about like maybe selling a share. I thought it was going to explode.
Well, at some point it will.
It will, of course.
But, you know, I think while I'm waiting for all that, you know, that's I focus on what I'm good at, you know, helping you with your stuff, you know, like we're talking with Kingsley with his video and stuff like that, and did some video editing kind of.
Yeah, Kingsley, let's just a little sidebar. We're going to have him the next podcast. He just confirmed for next Tuesday.
Kingsley
He's really cool. I know him from the Florida Speakers Association.
Yeah.
We were in the same Connie Gordon Speakers Academy.
And I got to go film I went and filmed one of his presentations, and it was awesome. It was really great, and I made a video for him, so it was kind of cool. I got to. And
then I filmed him too at the Deerfield Chamber of Commerce. I got us all three of us a gig there.
Yeah.
To speak. I spoke on customer service.
Yeah. And I'll be editing that video, so that'll be ready by next week. We can get to it. But you know, I just kind of took a break from. I did some stuff on my own, which was good because I went back instead of, like you said, I was getting upset at the patent trolls, and then. So I kind of focused on work, and then what I did is I made a video for my brother that was just like a funny comedy video, and that was like a good way for me to kind of take a breath and then dive back in.
Mm-hmm. So getting back to the start of a business, how did you make a decision whether you're going to be a sole proprietor or whether you're going to be a corporation? How are you an LLC? I usually do the .com.
Yeah.
I'm usually a corporation, sometimes a full corporation, or I do the S Corp.
Okay. I did S Corp for Patriot Focus, mainly because of the scale. So the way I look at it is I have several business lines that I work under that are all just sole proprietor, or I do them as independent contractors. Mm-hmm. And then I have an app that tracks all of my revenue and expenses. And so what I do is I keep all of my expenses over my revenue. So I will stop doing work and then accumulate expenses so that I don't have to pay taxes on any of them.
Okay.
So I do consulting, I do photography, you know, aerial, and I put video editing under photography. Okay. And then I have Patriot Focus, which is an LLC because, like, again, the scale that we're looking at. So that's the company that our app is under, Higher Up, or maybe not.
Yes, it might be something else.
Maybe something
formerly
else.
Known as Higher Up. That formerly.
So that is an LLC, and that's because I have partners. I have you know, shares of stock, like to yourself and to other people that I have, and so that one I want all of the legal bindingness, whatever you want to call it, off of myself.
Okay.
And I don't want that to affect me if I get in a partner dispute or anything like that. So if you don't know how it works, an LLC will protect you personally from being a business owner, from if you get sued by the public or by a partner or something like that, they can't come after your house. your car, and in order to settle that lawsuit.
Right.
You can dissolve the business, or or sell.
And I just want to
shares
say as an
today.
aside with that, because like when let's say if you go in and you want to rent some space to hold your business at, you can have a brick and mortar type of business. A lot of times your company might sign the lease, but they might want a personal guarantee. So I just want to let our listeners know that sometimes it doesn't always protect you.
If they do it.
Sometimes there are different, like a bank loan, they might have it in the corporate, but they still might want a personal guarantee or your social security
So you can't
number.
default on it. Yeah.
So you can't default on it. So
yes, that's true.
that is true. But as far as the legalness,
But
of
I'm an online service, so I don't have that issue.
Yes.
I'm really just scared of being sued by everybody, and them coming
and see,
out.
look what happened.
And it's already
Did you
happened.
Put that out there.
It's already happened once, so I'm sure it's gonna happen again. But no, like when I do smaller things like consulting and photography.
And maybe we should also tell our listeners that we're not lawyers and we're not accountants. So this is our own. Don't sue us for anything that we say.
This is just
our opinion, our
Yeah.
experiences.
Yeah. I love doing sole proprietor work or independent contractor work.
Yes, go to 1099.
Because 1099 work is the best way you can do whatever you want, whatever you're good at, and you can serve and help people in a myriad of ways. And you can do all of that work under that one umbrella of being an independent contractor. Mm-hmm. And that way you can write off pretty much everything that you do, including gas mileage.
Right. Just have to keep account of it.
Yep, so I use an app. I'm not in any way connected with them.
No affiliate yet, I don't know.
But it's called Everlance.
Everlance?
And the way it works is it logs all of your revenues, expenses, and it tells you your profit, and then it does your mileage. So when I get home from anywhere I go, like I take my daughter to preschool, I come home and it says, you have a new trip worth $1.62 in write-offs. And then if you swipe one way, it's other, and if you swipe the other way, it's for work.
I see.
So I get back from dropping my daughter off from preschool, okay, that's other. So I slide to the side. If I get back from,
You can't think of a way to make that into a business, taking your daughter to school.
If I take a phone call on that trip, then I will classify it as work.
Oh, okay.
So then when you go to do your taxes, there's a little tax thing here, and it tells you your revenue, your work expenses, and your mileage deduction, and your taxable income. So right now I'm at negative $90.
Oh, okay.
So, and that's the way, it'll stay. So as I make revenue, I just have to come up with more expenses. And it's not like I'm going and doing frivolous buying or like making it up, but I mean, there's always expenses for everything. So
even filming this, there's little sticks that you got to put into the camera to
yeah,
record on,
exactly.
right?
So all that, I mean, everything. And it works out really great because pretty much everything you do, if you're an independent contractor,
your life revolves around your business quite often, and everything is combined in a lot of.
If you go out to dinner, so like what me and my buddy will do is we'll go out to dinner, and then we'll have a discussion about business for 5 or 10 minutes about whatever we're working on, and then that's a business write-off. And that's not cheating the system. That's legitimately we met for dinner to talk about business. So. Therefore, it is a business expense. But that's what's great about it. So.
And I know with that you have to log the person and the discussion and who you're with for your receipt.
You don't have to do that for an independent contractor. I mean, as far as the way I've done it, because if you're not making a ton of money, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. So all they want is, they want your money. Yes. So if you're doing expenses and if you're making $1 million and you're writing off $2 million, like, yeah, you should probably take some pretty good records of that stuff like that. Well, I'm not doing that. And that's why I spread it out too, so it's multiple
for a few different businesses.
Right. So it's multiple small, whatevers.
So in the state of Florida, where we're both at, it's pretty easy to start a business. There's a sunbiz.org, and then you can just fill it out yourself. It's $70 filing fee. You have a registered agent, which can be yourself, and then whether it's you and a few people or whether you have like a board, you can put their information, the president, vice president, CEO.
Yeah, it's a really easy process.
Yeah. When I first had my first business, back when I was 22, I actually went to a lawyer. I think it cost like $500.
Oh, okay.
And they gave me a book and fancy.
Yeah. I just bought my corporate book on Amazon for like $25.
$25 on Amazon. Okay, see, there's a plug.
Yeah, there you go.
You can find that on that, and we can put this next to our post.
I will do that. Yeah, you can check out the in our link. You will see an ad for a corporate book that you can buy from Amazon.
And it just depends on your state, how much it
Yeah,
costs.
it's going to be different.
Now, what that does is that once you have that corporation, and then what you do is then you go to the IRS, and there's a form that you need to fill out to get your tax ID number, EIN number, tax ID number, and you fill out that information, and right away you get your tax ID number. And so with those two pieces of information, with the state of Florida, it usually takes a few days for them to approve you, and you get your
I think it was like 3 days for mine.
3 days. And then with those two pieces of paper, you can go to a bank and open up a bank account in your corporate name.
Yep, you just need your EIN, your tax identification number, and then the primary shareholder, and then they'll take your social and stuff like that. But as long as you have the EIN, you can open a bank account.
Yep. And they want to
really
see your articles of incorporation, so that's why you have to wait for the state to send that information back to you.
They'll give you a little PDF you can print out. I have a whole binder, or not a whole binder, just a tiny little manila envelope that has not envelope, but what am I saying, folder that just has my printouts from the state, and then my tax ID stuff, and then all my bank account information.
And then from there, what's the next step? Usually you want to get some business cards.
Yep.
Start a website.
Yeah, you can go to...
Some presents.
I always just use the... What is that? You get the cheap business cards.
Oh, Vista Print.
Vista Print, yeah, that's
I like
that. I know, it's like you can always find deals, and you get it like 500 cards for like $10, but then shipping's like $12.
And if you want it tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. So business cards, and then...
They even have a whole package with websites and whatnot. I never have used
That's true.
that service, but they also have letterheads and things like that, and coffee mugs. Gosh.
They have everything. Yeah.
Next time I got to bring my Astute Productions coffee mug.
There you go. That's a good idea.
And so our Brains and Brawn podcast, we're in the works right now. Then a logo. We're creating our logo.
Mm-hmm.
We should have it within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
A week or two.
And it'll look really a lot better than the one we have right now.
Yeah. So I'll show you.
I
have my little drawings that I had to send. And
there you go. Yep. So once
I
you have that, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Then you just need clients.
Yes, clients. Marketing. That will be a whole topic for another podcast. Ways to market your business.
I bet Kingsley will have some good insight on, because he works with he's got a really interesting niche. It's like it's kind of like his niche is like 40 plus people,
yeah,
40-year-old
men.
plus people.
His avatar is a man, 40 to 50. That is like a midlife launch or reinventing oneself.
Yeah, people that have been in the workforce and then they want to get out and they want to do something either on the side, or they want to start their own business and get away from the instability of the workforce, which I completely applaud.
And I think most people in our generation that have gone through layoffs or downsizing or being let go, it kind of forces people to reevaluate the whole corporate world and their dreams and what they really want to do, what they want to put out to the world.
Yeah, I mean, the middle class is shrinking because corporations are outsourcing, which is leaving us with an abundance of, skilled laborers or corporate executives. It's not that they have abundance of corporate executives, but that's pretty much what we have left is corporate executives and skilled laborers. The middle class is being outsourced by computers or out of the country. So you have all these people that have really great knowledge, that know how to do all of this stuff because they've been doing it for 20 years. They're getting laid off, and now, what are they going to do? That knowledge doesn't really translate. I mean, it translates into what they were doing, but if there's not jobs for what they were doing, then they're kind of screwed. But that's what we're realizing, and that's what we're trying to help people, is that you can, let's say you were an accountant for 20 years and you got laid off, well, you can be an accountant still. Just start an accounting office. You just need a couple clients, you market yourself, you know how to do it, you know the skills. It's easier than ever to start the infrastructure of a business because everything's online, software driven. So it's not like it used to be. It used to be a huge undertaking to start like an accounting firm or something like that. But you can easily work from home and get 1, 2, 3, 4 clients.
And then just think that the clients that you get are probably appreciate because probably you're able to offer services at a more reasonable rate to startups or people that have just been in business for a few years.
Yeah, and if you're going to leave your company
that
and do
overhead.
that, you take your Rolodex with you that you've built over the last 20 years of all the clients and the connections you've had. Don't sign any sort of non-compete, and now you got hundreds of people that you can call to do whatever it is.
And because that's your experience, we talked about that before. You might want to just tell our audience, just in case they didn't see that, that's what happened to you when you were taking pictures of cars.
Oh, with
car
dealer specialties? Yeah, I left that company. The corporation was being a corporation. they were
being a corporation.
They were downsizing and they weren't treating people very well. And so I just went around and I found, I talked to my best clients and I said, hey, I'm going to leave the company and do this for myself. And they said, yep.
And they were happy because they had the relationship with you.
They were
right?
only
They loved
using
you.
it-
They loved him.
me, yeah. So I took, I think like 4 or 5 clients and I said, see you later to my company. I gave them my 2 weeks, and I did what I was supposed to do, and then that was my first sole proprietorship. It was right there. So I just set it up. And then I went out and I continued to serve those clients. Like nothing ever changed, except I just was wearing a different shirt. I was wearing whatever shirt I wanted to wear. I wasn't wearing the company shirt.
Logo.
Yeah, I didn't have it. Anyway, so I was like, all right. Yeah, that was a perfect example of how easy it is. You just find your closest couple of clients or the people you have good relationships with, and that's a perfect place to start. And if they're true believers in you, you'll get word of mouth from them. You can always ask them for referrals after the fact and say, hey, I think I'm situated here with my own little thing. I'm ready to expand. Do you have anyone's numbers, anyone you can put me in contact with?
So, being a startup, let's just talk about some of the things that you go through financially and emotionally as a startup, as you're getting your idea. So, I think one of the biggest things is that you go through sometimes overwhelm, that there's too much to do. You make your to-do list, and then you get only like part of it done.
And then it turns into a family tree.
Yes. So how do you stay focused in your business? And I'll tell you how I stay focused in mine.
Well, I like you're talking
Are you
about.
focused?
You're talking about starting that. You were talking about starting a business.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yes.
So wait, I'm confused. Now or when I started?
You can pick.
Well, when I started, I think that's really where we should focus.
Focus. Starting.
It is overwhelming because you think, oh my gosh, I have to have social media and a website, and yes, it is very overwhelming. So what I did is I literally just did one thing at a time until it was done, and I went to GoDaddy and I bought my domain, and as soon as I did that, you really do feel that kind of a little bit of a relief because it's like, okay, I've accomplished something, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but it will because you'll have this giant list, like you said, and you just do one thing. So I bought the domain. Then I had to buy hosting because that's how it works. So then I bought hosting. Then I watched a YouTube video on how to make my domain and hosting go together to create a website. Okay. And then I just did that. So now I had a website with my domain name and then I just went from there. And then I wanted to add a picture, so I figured out how to a picture, like blah blah blah. And I had learned a lot of this before.
And again, snaps to YouTube and all those wonderful people that put things out there to teach.
And YouTube will help every single step of the way, but don't think, like I was never thinking, oh, I have to get 5,000 emails into my subscriber or something like that, because that's when I would get overwhelmed. I was like, okay, I just need to get an email subscriber, so I signed up for like MailChimp, It was just one thing at a time, set up the Facebook, set up the Twitter, then I connected them.
And then the sales, which we're going to be talking about marketing in another video, but along the way.
Yeah.
Don't want to take your eyes off the prize of having some income coming in too.
Right. And I ended up getting clients before I was even ready to do any of that. Just talking to people out, playing tennis or whatever. So like, it's weird the way it happened. You never really know.
Because that seems like that's like the number one way of getting sales is like one-on-one relationship building or referrals
and stuff like that
from people.
Right. Exactly. So I wouldn't say like I stayed focused, like I had a lot on it, but I literally just I did one thing at a time. It sounds cliche, but each time I did something, it opened the door to do the next thing. It kind of led me down a path naturally.
Okay.
So I didn't have to sit there and worry about what should I do, because every time I did something, it was kind of like, okay, well now I have this, and you're looking at it and you go, oh, well, it needs to now do this. And so I just kind of tried not to think of too far in advance.
So in costs, what we've talked about is probably like $300 that we've talked about from getting your corporate name registered,
Yeah.
opening a bank account. You know, they usually want $50, $100
Right.
to start off with, but then you could use that money to then get your website, get your
Yeah.
domain.
It's going to be like
Yeah,
$17 for your domain. It'll be about $100 for hosting. Then if you buy a template, another 30 to 80, whatever you spend on a template. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. The cost to entry is getting
It's low.
It's low.
Yeah.
It's low.
I mean, yeah, you think about starting a business 20 years ago, I mean, you'd need $10,000.
Right.
So that's what, kind of plays into what we were talking about before, is people can do this now.
Yes.
And we encourage them to do this.
Yes. Yep. Keeping good records of all of your expenses
Yeah.
is real important, because you want to have those as deductions when the income
Yeah.
massively starts to come in.
Write off everything. And trust me, it's all justified.
Yep.
So what about you?
And overwhelm. Yeah, mine is like too many ideas. I'm the way that I stay focused is by having lists. And sometimes I can be very organized, and then sometimes I'm more bounce around. I kind of like hop around with the different projects and the things that I need to do. That's my style.
I do that a lot too.
And then when it comes to overwhelm, I'm a big believer in meditation and just calming myself. And as a massage therapist, I like getting massages also.
Yeah.
It's a way of relaxing. And a lot of times your good ideas, well, this happens with most people. Where do your best ideas happen? It's usually like when you're sitting on the toilet or taking a shower.
Taking a shower, yeah. It's when you're not
When you-
thinking about it.
Right, when your mind is relaxed. So purposely putting yourself in that relaxation zone and visualizing and pre-paving. I'm a big believer in pre-paving the day before I get out of bed. I think of all the things that are on my to-do list, and then I just kind of imagine myself getting it done, easily and effortlessly.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And what happens is I find myself being I feel like I'm lucky. A lot of times my phone will ring with somebody that was on my list that I had to contact, and they're there. Things kind of, when you can imagine them getting done, easy.
Yeah, you're a lot more organized than I am. I
You
kind of
think?
just go with the flow. But I mean, I'm the same way. Like, maybe I'm lucky, but I always just feel like things just kind of happen the way they're supposed to anyway. Like, if I need to get something done,
And I found
there's
this
an email or something is.
It'll come my way.
And it's gonna come. Like, I just.
And I learned that from selling houses as a real estate broker. A lot of times if you're too much on top of it, that's not good either. Too many
Right.
phone calls. Sometimes things take a little time for them to work out, because your next step might not be something that you have to do. Maybe you are waiting on somebody else to get the information that you need.
Right.
And when you're working with others. And
Yeah.
so being too much on them doesn't create a good lasting relationship.
That's true. Yeah, they start to get kind of like bothered by if you're like nagging them the whole time or something like that. But yeah, I
It
guess
was kind of like the process of getting the logo done for Brains and Brawn. I had the concept maybe about 2 months ago, but the pieces just didn't come together until...
And then she went on vacation.
Yeah, and then the person went on vacation till Friday. So, yeah.
All right, well, that's some good advice. Take
there
it one step at a time, organized. Realize that the barriers aren't as high as you think they might be.
And stay focused, and when you do feel like you're going into overwhelm, is slow the mind down by doing something relaxing.
Yeah.
Because the ideas flow when the mind is more in the alpha theta brainwave states.
Right. I like to
And
read, and then usually when I read, it takes my mind off of whatever I was thinking of. And
Okay.
I'll sit there and read almost every time, and then in the middle of a sentence I'll be like, and I'll just put my book down, because whatever I was thinking about before has regenerated and started growing again as soon as I stopped thinking about it.
And then so we get our unseen helpers helping us too.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's
Anything
good.
else? Yep. Well, we are so much looking forward to the next podcast next week when we have our guest Kinsley Grant, and we'll be talking about midlife launch. And bye for now.
All right, have a good day. See you next time.